Hi, and welcome to the Sibme Coach Replay Show. I am your host, Corey Camp, and today we are bringing back Melody Deemer, one of my favorite coaches to talk to. We talked with her a little bit at the beginning of the year in our first few episodes. Now, if you remember, Melody is one of our coaches, one of our elite coaches, one of the top coaches in our Sibme virtual coaching team. We have a pretty fantastic team of virtual coaches here at Sibme, and Melody is one of the best. In addition to working for Sibme as a virtual coach, she's a full-time teacher. She teaches 5th grade. She's national board certified as a literacy specialist. She is also a reading specialist, an English second language teacher, and a Maryland master teacher. So lots of great things under her belt in her years of teaching. Welcome back, Melody.
Thank you so much, Corey. I'm always looking forward to talking education with you.
Yeah, me too. We are a lot alike. So I'm excited to talk today a little bit about classroom discussions. We know how important that peer-to-peer conversation, how facilitating discussions can be really, really great for our classrooms and the learning in our classrooms. So I'm really glad that we're talking a little bit about this. We're talking specifically about a strategy called Habits of Discussion from Teach Like a Champion with Doug Lamond. So how you can teach students to get the most out of these discussion moments and conversations in their classroom. So what do we mean by habits of discussion, Melody? Can you describe that to us a little bit and tell us why it's important?
I can. I love leading discussions with kids because that's where they process either what they have just read or process content knowledge, if you're talking about something, say, in social studies or in science. So that can be such a valuable time. Habits of discussion are just some basic rules of discourse that students need to learn so that they can relate to each other and help each other process whatever it is they're talking about. So for example, some of them might be things like, look at the speaker, so look at the person who's talking, be audible so that the entire class can hear your comments, agree and disagree respectfully with other classmates, build on what other classmates have said, use the name of the classmate that you're talking to or whose comment you're referring to. So those kind of things build a community of learners who are really reflecting on what each other is saying and helping each other process information.
Yeah, and these are also life skills, right? These are the
Right.
ways we want to have conversations out in the real world. Those are great strategies during an interview, as well as just in general in working with people in the workplace or in your life. So
Exactly.
I think this is a great way to support an additional skill that's kind of a lifelong skill. So our video today, Melody, features a middle school classroom, a middle school group of students who are in the process of having a discussion that the teacher's kind of leading them through. So what are we looking for in this video as I get ready to share my screen?
So just notice that the teachers put some work in ahead of time, that the kids have some kind of notes that they keep referring to. Some of the kids seem to be adding to those notes. So that's a real positive there, that she has set them up to be ready to participate. And participate they do in spades. I really love this class. They just need to have that energy harnessed a little bit and kind of brought into control so that it can be really productive. So let's take a look at what they're doing.
All right, we're gonna watch this whole video through. It's a short video, so 1:18 seconds. And then we'll go back and rewatch a few priority moments.
Sounds great.
Their looks, but they're influenced by what? By the way. Okay.
Social media.
But social media is what specifically? Social
Famous people. When you look at models, and you want to be like that.
Yeah. Wait. One at a time. Yes, Carla? But factors. Like I know what low self-esteem, but what caused them to have that low self-esteem?
People. When you go on Instagram and you see that Models.
Okay, Instagram.
Or your friends. Like famous people.
Famous people. Okay, so now, class, pick up the hoodie, guys. Why, okay, so where else can they see famous people? Where? The internet, the web?
Magazines.
The news, yeah, yeah. The news. Univision.
The news?
Univision.
The news, okay, so before the internet.
All right, so yeah, definitely a lot going on. You can even see that there's, a student kind of probably sitting on a desk back here, which, I had students who did that a lot in my classroom. I taught middle school, and so we got comfortable. Flexible seating wasn't a thing back then, but we did flexible seating. So,
Right.
do we want to dive right into this video again, Melody? Do you have some background things that you want to discuss first?
So I just wanted to mention, since we're going to look at it again, that the teacher has a lot of empty wall space, which I think is amazing. I always have trouble in my room finding enough space, but she's got room there to post just a simple chart of some of these habits of discussion that she would like her students to start engaging in, so that she can refer to that chart instructionally, reminding the students that they're working on their discussion as well as whatever content they're processing.
I think that's a great idea, because when you were talking about the various habits of discussion, it's kind of a long list. There's lots of different things that you can do there. So having an anchor chart to kind of be able to turn back to that poster, I think is a great idea, a great use of the wall space.
So if we look at that first clip, it's just extremely short, but you can see where the kids are ready to participate. Like they are just bursting with energy. They wanna be able to answer her questions, and they've got some notes to support them in doing that.
Yeah, we can see that here. I'm playing this back on mute. They're ready to go. Some are adding to their notes as they're getting going here. We see this kiddo over here writing. Everyone's kind of got something on their lap or on their desk. Absolutely. All right, so then let's keep watching, and we'll take it to the next segment.
Okay.
Their looks, but they're influenced by what? By the way. Okay.
Social media.
But social media is what specifically? Social.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about this moment here, Melody.
So the student says social media, which is an answer, and she wants him to develop that idea a little bit more. So she's giving prompts for him to do that. But this would be a wonderful place for her to pull in those habits of mind and say to the class, can anyone build on, John's idea about social media? What else can you tell us about that? Look at John and talk to him about his idea. So she could start to pull those habits in right here. It's a great spot to do it.
I love it. That's a great idea. Yeah, definitely. And the reason I love that, especially for working with struggling learners or students with English as a second language, when they take a risk like that and call out an answer, but it doesn't seem super developed. If it's the teacher trying to help get that developed in the middle of the rest of the class, we get some students who maybe become off task because I'm having this one-on-one with John across everybody else, or John might feel like, well, I am not going to answer next time because then she's going to make me keep answering. So I'm never doing that again. So I love that idea of let's turn it back to us as the group, as the community, and let's help continue to develop that idea. Anybody else have that? Yeah, I love that. That's great. All right, let's look at one more segment in here, Melody.
Famous people. When you look at models, and you want to be like that.
Wait. One at a time. Yes, Carla? But factors. Like, I know, but
All right, so what did we just see in that one?
So you can see the class is getting a little bit more chaotic here. And to me, that kind of problem is a better problem to have than everybody sitting, you know, like staring at the pencil they're playing with in their hands and nobody is involved. These kids are really involved, but she needs to use those habits to help harness that energy. One thing that she might be able to do or might want to do is to provide some sentence starters. So she's got that chart on the wall, that anchor chart of different habits, and she might have beside that, John, I agree with your idea, and I'd like to add that, like, you know, blah, 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 or no, John, I disagree with what you just said, and the reasons are da, da, da. So she could support the kids that way as they're getting started with the habits.
Yeah, I love using discussion stems. In fact, I had a couple of posters for discussion stems for various situations, for agreeing and disagreeing, for clarifying, like, and helping to give my students a little bit of start to having that conversation instead of what'd you say, but let's use a little more polite sentence starter to clarify or ask that person to repeat their question or the response. So great tips. I love that we see some really engaged students in this video. It's just about how do we help the student discourse get to that level of rigorous of everybody being able to participate. And I think habits of discussion is a great way to do that for sure. All right, Melody, so anything else that you can leave us with? Maybe what's the next step with this teacher using video or beginning to implement some of these habits of discussion?
You know, videoing a discussion like this, I just think that that's the perfect format to use, both for the teacher and for the students, because I think after she would introduce a few of the habits of discussion and the kids get through the kind of initial little awkwardness of using them, you know, in a week or so, I think if she videoed them again during a discussion, that the difference would be so dramatic. And she's got the documentation in the first video and then the comparison in the second video. And I think it would be very motivating for her to continue to develop the habits, but I also think it would be really motivating for the students to, you know, to see the difference that using those habits can make.
I love that. And that's one of, and remains to be one of my favorite reasons for using video is to, you know, we see an area we might want to improve upon and we can go try to implement something new and come back to those tapes, come back to the footage and see the difference. We can see the impact that it makes, which, you know, if I'm working with a teacher who is really struggling with a particular focus that we're working on together, I mean, that's everything. It's one thing for me to say, this is great, there's lots of progress, but it's another thing for that person to see it themselves. So that's right. Really be powerful that way.
I really agree with that, Corey.
Yeah. Well, Melody, thanks so much for joining us today and breaking down another video with us. It's always a joy. We always love having you. Thanks
to you too, Corey. Always fun.
All right. Well, audience, join us again next week for another episode of the Sibme Coach Replay.